I feel like this is going to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be when I came up with the idea. The longest vlog I've ever made on this channel is a vlog that I did about my old flatmates at university, which is called Flat 69 and is 12 minutes and 20 seconds long. I've decided to try and break that record today. I'm thinking of trying to push 15 minutes. That doesn't mean to say I know what I'm going to talk about for those 15 minutes. I've been thinking just recently that I think I prefer racist people to other kinds of people. And the reason for that is that at least you know where you stand with them. I definitely prefer them to the majority of white British middle class people. I very deliberately said the majority there rather than all, just to cover myself. Because at least with racist people, they will just hate all races other than their own. And you know that they're a massive dick and that you can completely discount all of their opinions about anything ever. But white middle class people usually appear to be quite sort of nice, friendly, approachable sorts, who every now and again will say something like, I think we should just stop letting foreign people into the country. Or, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, I simply will not employ a foreigner. Or even the worst one of all, I was watching that Nigel Farage on the television the other day, and he really does talk a lot of sense. And you just find yourself thinking, we were having such a lovely chat, and then you had to say that. I've changed the lighting mid-video now as well. Tommy Malone, providing professional standard vlogging since 2012. 2011? Wow, how do I only have 170 something subscribers? I must be really bad. Or maybe I'm a cult, and when I inevitably die in 5 or 10 years time, and my obituaries are published in the newspapers and on the television, people will go, oh yes, Tommy Malone, always liked him. It'll be like when Top of the Pops got cancelled and everybody said, it's such a shame that Top of the Pops is gone. I mean, I never watched it, but it was nice to know it was there. It's such a shame that Tommy Malone's dead or given up YouTube or something. Did you ever watch any of his vlogs? No, but it was nice to know he was doing them. The weird thing with doing YouTube stuff is that people never talk about the possibility that they might ever stop doing it. Because it's kind of inevitable, I think. Everyone's got to stop doing it at some point. People will get fed up with it. I simply won't lie to you, I think about stopping doing it all the time. It's a hobby. It's just like when I used to windsurf when I was a kid. Decided I didn't want to do it anymore, stopped doing it. I knew that starting this school placement that I'm going to be doing for the next sort of 5-6 weeks or so was going to mean that I didn't have time to make videos as frequently, at least for a while. And I genuinely thought, I could just not do them anymore. That'd be alright, wouldn't it? I think about giving up everything. That's genuinely true. I'm not sort of saying that to be hip and cool and like Kerouac and let's just get rid of all our stuff and rent a truck and fucking drive off into the sunset, man. But I do genuinely think about giving up everything. There is nothing in my life that I currently do or have done at some point that it hasn't crossed my mind to give up. And I include in that things like, going to university, having a part-time job, owning a car, doing exercise, eating healthily, eating at all, getting out of bed in the morning. I haven't given up any of them yet. Doesn't mean I won't ever. Who can say? This may be my last ever vlog. Not saying it is, not saying it isn't. But, there's every chance that after I've edited this thing and posted it, I just won't be asked about doing it anymore. Who can say? One pretty big decision that I made, three and a bit years ago? No, coming up for 3 years ago, was to leave the university course that I was doing at the time and, try something different. And, the day after my papers were filed with that university saying that I wasn't going to be there anymore, I did genuinely think, have I made a mistake? Now I'm trying to be a teacher. Yeah, this is the face of someone who could potentially be teaching your kids in, well, 18 months' time. I think all the time about whether this is the right thing for me to do. Am I cut out to be a teacher? I don't know. I'm on a 6-week work experience placement in a school at the moment. When I finish this placement, I'm either going to be absolutely certain that I've made the right decision and that I'm definitely going to be a teacher, or I'm going to be running for the hills. And at the moment, I don't know which it's going to be. But I'm certainly interested to find out. I don't need to think that I'm being down when I say this stuff about how I've thought about quitting doing everything that I do ever. Because I'm not saying it to try and get sympathy or to try and be contrary or anything like that. It's, I think it's important to second guess yourself, to think about what you're doing in your life and decide whether it's definitely the right thing for you to be doing. You may be heading down a path and it feels slightly uncomfortable underfoot, and just the other side of the low fence there might be a path that's going to be far more comfortable on your feet, and you should hop across the fence and start running down that path instead. I've sort of spoken in vlogs before about the fact that I've become a little bit kind of fitness conscious, but at the moment I don't know why I'm still doing that. I'm a lot healthier at this moment in time than I've been for a really long time. I think I'm as light as I've been for, I don't know, since I was 16, I guess. And in terms of like my food intake and stuff, I'm probably eating healthier than I've ever eaten in my life, he says while shoving Pringles in his face hole. I don't know, it's becoming increasingly difficult to give a fuck about eating healthily, because I don't know who I'm doing it for. I mean, if I'm doing it for myself, it's a fucking stupid thing to do, because it's horrible. I just feel hungry all of the time. But who am I fucking doing it for then? Because no one else cares. No one else's happiness is based on whether or not I am eating healthily. And it's not even like it's helping me to do anything apart from buy smaller clothes. And that's more expensive because my old clothes don't fit me anymore. I go to put on a smart shirt for some reason, and it's way too big for me. It looks like I'm a little kid dressing up in my dad's clothes or something. So I have to buy new shirts, and shirts are not cheap. This is what it's like to go out drinking with me, by the way. I get a certain amount inside me and start ranting about the world. The other annoying thing is that I used to make statements which were clearly jokes, and people would laugh at them because they were clearly jokes, about how I'm obviously a 10 out of 10 and I am so super healthy and gorgeous and all of the women fancy me because I'm so slender and gorgeous. But I was 16 stone, and so people knew that this clearly wasn't the case, and so they laughed because it was obviously a joke. Nowadays I make those jokes and I'm like 11 stone 12 or something like that, and people go, what an arrogant cunt. I'm still making the joke from the same place. I'm making the statement based on the fact that I don't think I'm all that. And people are meant to laugh because I'm clearly joking, but they don't laugh because they think I'm being arrogant, and it's frustrating because I'm funny, you fuckers, laugh at me. I made this vlog just before the new year, which was called The Perfect Tom or something like that. I called it that, again, to be kind of ironic, because I don't think that I am the perfect Tom at all. Obviously, I don't. That would be fucking stupid. But again, people really didn't seem to get that that was meant to be a humorous comment. I don't think I'm perfect. And I know that I'm not going to become the perfect Tom. This wasn't what I was expecting this video to turn into, to be honest. I find as I get older, my fantasy life gets more vivid, which is almost impossible, or I almost felt it would be impossible, because as a kid my fantasy life was so fucking vivid. It's worse now. I live my life in this bubble of imagination. All these amazing things are happening to me, and I don't know, they're not. Obviously, because if they were, I wouldn't be having to try and imagine them. They would be happening. And I think it comes from this frustration that I have, which is a ridiculous frustration to have, but it's there, so I may as well fucking tell you about it. We've come this far. Despite the fact that I like to class myself as being quite stoic and, quite sort of everything is water off a duck's back and all that shit, I think one of the reasons why my fantasy life is so vivid and why I get so genuinely frustrated, and also possibly one of the causes for the depression that I get every now and again that I don't like to talk about to people, is because I've had to come to terms in the last sort of 7 or 8 years, I suppose, with the fact that I am average and my life is average, and that's all it will ever be. It's never going to be utterly shit, which is great, but it's never going to be awesome. And that's frustrating, because when you're a kid, obviously they say you can be whatever you want to be, and by the time you're 11 or 12 you realise that that's a massive crock of shit. But for some reason in the back of my mind I always still kept this little spark, this little fragment of an idea, that despite the fact that I really obviously couldn't be whatever I wanted to be, maybe I still could, but I can't, and nobody can. There's nobody in this world that can be exactly what they want to be. It's impossible. There's this sort of theory, I think you'd call it a psychological theory, called Dare to be Average, and it's about sort of not feeling disappointment in not necessarily reaching the highs that you want to. It's about, literally what it says, daring to be average, daring to not necessarily achieve everything in life and everything that society demands of you, and becoming the perfect human being, because it's impossible. So dare to be average. And I can't get behind that notion, because I don't want to dare to be average. I want to dare to try and be fucking awesome, and if that fails, at least I'll still be great. It's not going to happen though. So I've started my own psychological principle called settle for being average. As I've mentioned in this video, I have in my life suffered from depression and stuff, and I never like to talk about it particularly, apart from maybe some people who know that I get it a bit, I might give them the little wink to sort of say, I'm fucking feeling it at the moment, so be on eggshells, because if you say the wrong thing, I'm gonna cry. The first time it came on really massively was in 2011, and it was kind of the thing that led to me dropping out of the university that I used to go to. I'm talking really, really quickly because I want to get all of this stuff out before I change my mind, kind of forgetting the fact that I have to edit this. The depression, the cause of it, I've only really realised in the last couple of months, was that things weren't perfect. Things happened in my life that were not what I wanted them to be. Things happened that, if I had the choice, they would never happen, and I'm not going to go into them here because it's personal. If you're watching this and you're like a proper real life friend of mine, ask me about them, maybe I'll tell you. So things weren't absolutely perfect, and I couldn't cope with that. I still can't cope with it. I hate it when things are not exactly as I imagine them to be. I'm a thinker. I'm someone who thinks about everything, who overthinks everything, who, whenever I have to do something, I think and think and think and think and think about it. And I picture the perfect way that it can happen. Then it doesn't happen in the perfect way. Nothing can ever happen in the perfect way. Things don't happen in the perfect 100% completely and utterly and truly perfect way. And I go, well, fuck it then. If it can't be perfect, I don't want it to happen at all, which is the wrong way to think, because things aren't perfect, the world isn't perfect, life isn't perfect, nothing can be perfect. You just have to cope with these things, you have to put up with these things. As human beings, we're programmed to deal with these things, and for some reason there's something in my brain that can't cope with these things. So going back to 2011, when things weren't perfect, things were fucking shit. Anyone watching this who knew me in 2011 and who was privy to the things happening in my life in early 2011 would probably agree that they got pretty much as bad as they could get. That kicked me into a depression, which made me want to completely radically change every aspect of my life, despite the fact that that wouldn't possibly affect the things that had happened previously. But whenever I get my depression periods, bouts of depression, I guess you'd call them, now, when, you know, and they still happen, I always have this urge to change everything in my life. Luckily, since 2011, I've pretty much managed to resist that. Otherwise, things would be pretty fucking different. Leave a comment about whatever you want in the description. Let's just have a nice chat. I don't know when I'm going to make another vlog, or if I even will make another vlog. I haven't decided. This could well be me going down in a hail of bullets. I hope it's not, but it could be. You never know. So yeah, let's have a lovely chat in the comments. Yeah, that'll do it. See you later.